Hello everybody, this is Toshi the Panda back at it again with another video. Today it's my long-awaited review of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. First of all, I'd like to apologize for not doing this any sooner. I've just been very busy with a lot of stuff. I just recently started my spring semester of college, so that definitely got in the way. Not to mention I went and saw this movie on Christmas, so there was a lot of hassle with that as well. But unlike my other two reviews of the other two Sonic movies, where I basically just got the reviews out almost as soon as I saw them, and was just like basically speed running through the reviews with everything, I was just gushing about everything through those videos. Now that I've seen the movie at least twice, and I've had a lot of time to calm down, settle down, I've gotten into my new routine now that my semester has started, I've decided to bring you a more laid-back, conscientious, and linear review of the movie, with basically like everything cut in place and put in order, so that it'd be more coherent and less like I'm just rambling on incoherently like a spazzy fangirl. So with that out of the way, I'm going to give you this review piece by piece, telling you everything I thought about every single aspect of the movie. And yeah, so first off, let's start with something easy: the effects. My god, the effects in this movie are amazing. They really stepped up the CGI like amazingly. You'd think that as these movies go on, maybe they would like mess up with the CGI and it wouldn't get any, I wouldn't say it would get bad, but maybe it like wouldn't hold up as much as it did before. But I dare say the effects in this movie are probably even better than that of the first and the second one. The CGI, especially on the Sonic characters, looks so good, like really good. You can see like the intricate details of the fur texture and on their clothes. It's just amazing. So now we move on to the characters. Everybody is like, they're fine, they're alright. Everybody's bringing their A game. Ben Schwartz is back at Sonic as always, and he does a good job as always. We've got Colleen O'Shaughnessy again for Tails, and of course she makes him as adorable as always. Idris Elba's back as Knuckles, and he brings a lot of jokes to the film. Like, a lot of the humor comes mostly from his out of touch with reality kind of way of speaking. And we've got newcomer Keanu Reeves playing Shadow, which honestly that makes me kind of happy. Like, for those that don't know, Keanu Reeves is actually one of my favorite actors. I really liked him in the Matrix movies. I didn't see all the John Wick films, just the first one, but I'll admit he is pretty good. And yeah, he did an amazing job as Shadow here. He really brings home the whole broody edgelord thing without coming across as too mopey and dopey. Like, he really brings this sort of coolness to Shadow's character. Not that Shadow wasn't already cool, but maybe that's just my bias because he is my #1 favorite Sonic character. Jim Carrey is back as Eggman once again. Even though he said he was going to retire, he did mention in an interview that he would come back if he liked the script of the third film. And he did. So he did. But in a big twist, he is playing both Dr. Robotnik and Professor Gerald Robotnik. And that's actually, I really did love the meta joke where they pointed out that both characters are played by the exact same actor. It's really funny. And honestly, the effect of making that work is amazing too. Like, I can't imagine how hard it is to have an actor in a live action movie play the exact same person. Because in animation, it's easy for one voice actor to play two different characters because you're not seeing the actor, you're just seeing the characters on screen. So, but imagine with the real life people, like, how do you get one guy to play the same person? I can only assume that they had him do all of his like takes as Robotnik first, and then he had to go change in costume and then do all of them again as Gerald, and then they had to superimpose everything together, I suppose. Well, it's really amazing how talented some filmmakers can be. Then we got Tom and Maddie back again. They're good as always. As far as human characters in the Sonic franchise go, they're the best. Like, they'll always be the best in my opinion. Honestly. And the girl playing Maria, I don't know her name, but she did a fantastic job too. She really sold it as the sweet, innocent, kind-hearted girl that ended up befriending Shadow. And their scenes together are just the cutest, which ultimately makes her tragic death all the more sad, in my opinion. So now that we've talked about the characters, let's move on to the humor. The humor in this movie is like, it's pure comedy gold. I wouldn't say all the jokes land nor are they drop dead hilarious, but they are really funny. Like I said, most of the jokes come from Knuckles and the things he says. He has like the funniest non sequiturs, like his whole comment about being 1,000,000% muscle and how he was happy that Sonic and Tails got the picture about it. Though the way they repeated it sounded like they had to hear this same spiel about 1,000 times over. Jim Carrey, as always, is hilarious. He brings a lot of energy and jokes to the table, especially considering he was playing both the crazy Dr. Eggman and the even crazier Gerald Robotnik. Like, really nailed it out of the park with that one. And Agent Stone gets some good lines here and there, too. So, now we move on to the plot. The story of the movie is basically an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2's story, but with a lot of key changes. For one thing, they changed up Shadow's backstory. In the movie, instead of him being created by Gerald Robotnik to be used as a cure for Maria's deathly illness, he was actually an alien in a meteorite that crash landed on Earth. Which also brings up an interesting point. Maria doesn't appear to be a deathly ill child in this movie. I mean, granted, in the games, she was sick with a terminal illness, but she didn't really appear to have any, like, visible symptoms. They would just hint at the fact that sometimes her condition would get, like, bad in certain cases, and she had to, like, wind down. Especially in the Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginning shorts that they released on YouTube. In the first one, she was running to show Shadow the Northern Lights, but then she collapsed from exhaustion, to which Shadow replied, "The low gravity here keeps your condition in remission." But in the movie, she seems like a perfectly healthy kid and was probably just brought in because her grandfather's the head scientist and she gets special privileges to walk around this military base. And she befriends Shadow almost instantly. I actually appreciate how when she first meets him and he gives her like this aggressive, mean look, she doesn't show any fear. She instead like jokingly gives him a mean mug back and then really cutely draws a bunny face on his tank to kind of lighten things up. It's really sweet how she instantly warms up to him. Unlike all the other adults in the facility who are immediately afraid of Shadow and what he could do, Maria, being the sweet girl she is, she immediately warms up to him. She's nice, she's friendly, she shows him a bunch of stuff like music players and movies, and they play games a lot, and she shows him the outside and they have this really heartfelt conversation about Shadow being who he wants to be. And yeah, but aside from that, the story mostly takes cues from Sonic Adventure 2. You know, Gerald Robotnik wants to get revenge on humanity because Gunn killed Maria and all that other stuff. And I'd say the movie handled it pretty well. It's not a complete one-to-one adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, which is something I actually liked. In fact, that's something I actually liked about these movies. Despite the fact that most of them are practically adaptations of the games, the first one is basically the first Sonic game, the second one is a combination of Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, with a little bit of adventure sprinkled in, and then the third one is basically Adventure 2. But none of the movies feel like they're direct adaptations or copies of the games. It feels more like they're their own thing, but they're just taking cues from the games. And I like that. It gives the movies their own identity separate from the game canon, and it makes them more unique. And I like that. I like that they changed the Shadow's backstory in the movie. I like the fact that in the movie he's actually a creature from another world that they don't know about, rather than being created by human beings to be used as a weapon or a cure for Maria's illness. It gives the movie more of its own identity, separate from the games. And it actually helps newcomers to the franchise get more acclimated. You see the movie first and you think, maybe I want to go play Adventure 2 after this and see how the games did the story as well. It's that kind of thing that works. And there's a lot of cute little references to the game here and there. You got in the beginning when Team Sonic jumps out of the helicopter, Sonic does his famous quote, "What? No food or movies? Talk about low budget flights, I'm out of here." That kind of line. Or later on, we see that the Chow Garden, which was a thing in Sonic Adventure 2, you can go into the garden and play and like raise your own chow. The Chow Garden in the movie is actually a popular Japanese cafe, which I hope to God that ends up actually becoming a thing after this movie like premieres in like other countries, especially in Japan, because if Amazing Digital Circus, an indie produced web series on YouTube, got its own pop-up store and a cafe in Japan, I hope to God we get a Chow Garden cafe somewhere in Japan. Like, come on, we got Digital Circus, we got Pokemon, please give us a Sonic Chow Garden cafe. That would be amazing. Just another reason for me to want to go visit Japan someday. But anyway, what else to talk about? Oh, the themes of this movie. From what I've noticed, each Sonic movie has like a different theme or morality lesson being taught to the audience. The themes are not overtly in your face like a bunch of other like really poorly done kids movies do nowadays, where they have a theme but they just like beat it into your head what the theme is. No, the Sonic movies, their themes are more subtle. In the first movie, the theme is found family. You know, finding family and realizing you can't run away from your problems, you gotta face them head on. In the second movie, it's about realizing that being a hero is not all about the fame and glory of it all. It's about doing the right thing and helping people when they need it the most. In this movie, it appears the theme is not giving into your anger or dark emotions and learning to let go of your pain, and that there's always something much more stronger than pain and anger, and that's the love you feel for those around you. And even though you may lose someone close to you, the memory of their love for you will never truly die so long as you hold on to it. And you know, that's something I really appreciate. I appreciate that these movies have these lessons that kids can find palpable, and adults can also glean from it too. But I also like how the storytelling is subtle with the themes. They're not like I said, they're not beating you over the head with it like any poorly made kids movie would. They actually take the time to really ease you into it. And also, as far as kids movies go, I knew they were going to do Maria's death scene, but I was thinking to myself, it's not going to go too dark. It's going to be just dark enough. And it was. It was pretty dark with her getting caught in an explosion and dying. But as far as death scenes go, especially in kids' films, it's probably the cleanest death scene I've seen. Because, yeah, her body was still basically intact. There was no blood. There was no gore, like something you would expect from someone who got caught in an explosion. It was mostly reserved and subtle with it, which is something I like too. I like it when a good kids film does a death scene in a very subtle and subdued way, just enough so you can get the emotions of it, but it's not like totally like over the top with it. Like, of course, in a kids film, you're not going to put any gore or violence to an extent like that. But at the very least, if you're going to show a death scene, be like modest with it. And having Maria on the floor, like, all dirty and disheveled, well, but not, like, blown to pieces or anything, but still obviously dead, it helps. It's a modest way of showing death to children so that they can understand it. And if I'm being honest, it's a nice, modest way of showing death to adults, too, without being too in your face about it. Because that's how you do maturity in a movie like this. You're not supposed to just go over the top with it, because that's not being mature, that's just being more childish. You do it in a subdued, modest way, and it shows that you respect the intelligence of your audience. And that's something I really loved about these movies, too. The people behind them really respect the intelligence of their target audience, which is both children and their families, and Sonic the Hedgehog fans. They have respect for both sides of their audience, and they know to give them what they want. And you gotta really appreciate that. It all started with that crappy trailer we got in the first place, but because of fan feedback, now we're getting a fourth movie, and possibly a spin-off show about Shadow. Hopefully, it won't be like the Knuckles show, where all the screen time is going to be taken away by a human character that doesn't need it. I might eventually do a review of that show too, and go into details about why I didn't really like it all that much. But for now, I'm going to wrap things up right here. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is a good film. It is a really good movie. It's funny, it's action-packed, it's exciting, it's dark but not to an over-the-top extent. It's sad, but the emotions are just enough that it doesn't really drag down the story too much. It's a really fun, epic adventure, and I highly recommend it to everyone who is either a Sonic fan or who has kids who are interested in this. Take them to see it. Hopefully, we might end up getting new fans of the franchise, and I look forward to the fourth movie coming out, because we're getting Amy Rose and Metal Sonic. Who knows? The fourth movie might be an adaptation of Sonic CD, or maybe it might be a combination of Sonic CD and Sonic Heroes. I hope that. I hope eventually we get Silver the Hedgehog in these movies. I hope we get Rouge the Bat. I hope we get everybody. Just go the whole 9 yards and make a whole Sonic cinematic universe. I can't wait to see that. So, yeah, this movie was great. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. And that's all I have to say for now. So, this is Toshi the Panda signing out. See you guys next time. Hope you have a great day, and don't forget to wash your hands. See y'all later.